From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
And good evening to you. Here at 7 o'clock, I'm Mark Mullins. More help is on the way for Indy's hospitality industry. But will it be enough to save jobs and businesses? Today, the city unveiled its plan to distribute one last round of federal money for restaurants, bars, and entertainment venues in Marion County. Beginning October 15th, businesses can apply for grants of up to $25,000 to help with rent or mortgage costs. $11 million of federal CARES Act funding will be used for the grants. And Mayor Joe Hogsett says it's up to Congress to provide additional help as the pandemic continues.
We know that this program isn't nearly enough. But it's been 6 months since any industry relief was approved by Congress. While we have been thoughtful in the distribution of our local dollars, this program represents the last gasp of federal relief that has been provided to this city.
Another $1 million fund will help businesses keep providing outdoor seating as the weather gets colder. That money can be spent on heaters, canopies, PPE, and other equipment. Today, the State Department of Health is reporting an additional 1,100 positive coronavirus cases and 13 deaths. The 7-day rate of positive tests has been slowly increasing. The most recent rate from September 18th to the 24th was 4.3%. Today, the Health Department added a school portion to its COVID-19 information dashboard at coronavirus.in.gov. This is what the first reporting looks like. It shows a total of 1,676 positive student cases, 335 teachers, and 343 staff. You can click on the dots on the statewide map to see if your child's school has reported.
Well, perfect timing here with the setting sun during our 7 p.m. news. You see on the western horizon out in Putnam County, nice orange glow. We've either had sunshine or showers today, and in between all the showers I'm going to show you, generally it was sunshine. The wind gusting over 30 miles per hour again today will calm down. Once the sun sets, and that's here in the next half hour, that will begin the process. Our wind will generally be around 10 miles per hour first thing in the morning. There's what's left of the showers dropping south and east from Peru down to Kokomo, may clip Morse Reservoir in Noblesville area, Cicero, and you can see southeast of Bedford some showers. There are the temperatures. They're in the 50s right now. We'll talk about the cool trend through the weekend and what happens next week coming up.
We could soon see a change in the Indianapolis Metro Police Department and the way it draws up policies and procedures. Civilians could become a bigger part of that process. Several city-county councilors have added their names to appoint civilians to the police department's General Orders Committee. Right now, that committee is made up of 3 law enforcement officers. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum explains the changes which could come down the line and the controversy they're causing when it comes to putting officers at risk.
Each and every day, the men and women of IMPD have a set of guidelines, policies, and procedures they must follow. And right now, those are all created by senior law enforcement officers. But if a new proposal is approved, that would change.
This proposal allows for the community to have access and give input to things that's going to clearly impact all of us.
Pastor David Green is the president of the Concerned Clergy of Indianapolis. He describes this proposal as a step in the right direction toward improving IMPD and community relations.
In this climate where there's a lot of tension between community and law enforcement, that it's very important in this season that the two come together and work together.
Counselor Krista Carlino says IMPD already works with community leaders and university experts when creating policies. This just takes it a step further.
Folks who are already doing work in our public sector who, again, quite frankly, have a seat at the table, but they don't have a vote and it's not a transparent process. So law enforcement can or cannot or can choose to not take that advice.
If approved, the proposal would give 4 appointed civilians, a majority of the General Orders Board. 2 other members would be appointed by the chief, and 1 would be elected by the department. Civilian appointees would have to complete the Citizens Police Academy, complete several training courses, and do a minimum of 24 hours worth of ride-alongs. Still, some counselors say that's not enough.
To say that we're going to let a group of civilians that have again, this watered down version of their training to set their policy, I don't see how we can honestly say this is a good idea. We're putting the officers at risk. We're putting their families at risk.
But Pastor Green says this is about having a say in the things that matter most to the community.
Diversity amongst the entire leadership staff of IMPD. I would want to be involved in police action shootings, the whole rollout of body cams. That's important as well.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
The full City County Council will vote on this proposal at their next meeting, October 12th. If approved, it would go into effect January 1st. Before the end of the year, a new bank will be up and running in a part of the east side that hasn't been home to a financial institution in years. WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows you how this could open up new opportunities for residents.
In Indianapolis, there are a number of things the east side of the city doesn't have.
We don't have a bank. We don't have adequate access to healthy food sources. We don't have great sidewalks. We don't have just the basic essentials for a great quality well-being. And the list goes on and on.
But this fall, that list will be shorter when the new First Merchants Bank opens near 38th Street and Keystone Avenue. Ashley Gervitz is the CEO of the Alliance for Northeast Unification and lives just blocks from the bank, which for her will be a 3-minute bike ride from home, compared to the 3-mile car trip she currently takes to the nearest bank. She and area residents are thrilled.
They are so excited. They're like, what do we have to do to make sure now that we have something that wants to invest in us to make sure it doesn't leave again?
The staff at First Merchants Bank say they recognize the need for a bank in the 46218 zip code. It's among the many conversations the company has had with residents like Gervitz. They say if the goal is to help the east side thrive, then it comes down to finances.
That is a big part of that growth. It's a big part of bringing good ways for individuals to be able to save, for individuals to be able to buy their homes, to find ways to invest, and we want to be in part of the growth with them.
First Merchant says in addition to talking with the community, it has done its research using a study from Indiana University, which indicates the 46218 zip code is lacking financial literacy and down payment assistance. Now the bank is prepared to cater to the east side's commercial and residential customers.
We're going to have a first-time homebuyer product with no money down. There's going to be grant money available and low credit scores as low as 600.
Gervitz says she is looking forward to the day when residents don't solely have to rely on a liquor store or payday loan store to simply cash a check.
Who wouldn't have a bank? And the need has just been so critical.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
First Merchants Bank was the center of a 2019 lawsuit from the U.S. Department of Justice accusing the bank of redlining and avoiding offering services in predominantly black areas of Indianapolis. Without admitting any wrongdoing, First Merchants Bank settled that lawsuit and agreed to open a full-service bank in one of the city's predominantly black neighborhoods. It's a change in deadline that could mean the difference for many Hoosiers and their right to vote. Up next, we talked to one person who helped make that possible. And usually it's pretty tough to get accepted into an Ivy League school, but this is no usual time we're living in, and that might be giving people a better shot at achieving their dreams. Voting by mail has been a huge topic for weeks, but 2 new polls have found that 35% of Americans plan to vote by mail and half plan to vote in person on Election Day. This is according to a poll by NPR, PBS, and Marist, as well as separate polls by Citizens Data. Jurisdictions are now making changes to polling places so that everyone can social distance. We know Marion County will have at least 180 polling locations on Election Day, 160 more than were open for June's primary. But if you are voting by mail, a judge has extended the deadline for your ballot to arrive and to be counted. The new deadline is November 13th, as long as your ballot is postmarked on or before Election Day, November 3rd. In Marion County alone, hundreds of absentee ballots were not counted for the primary election because they missed the deadline. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker talked to one of the women who helped make this change possible.
I had not been informed that it had not been counted.
Crystal Hammond is one of the thousands of people whose mail-in ballot was not counted during Indiana's primary election. The reason? It was delivered after the noon deadline on Election Day.
I was just shocked and surprised that it didn't didn't get counted and that there was no system to even follow up with me and tell me.
She was contacted by Common Cause Indiana and from there became part of a lawsuit to change that rule.
If the lawsuit had not been filed, I wouldn't have even known.
Voters, we don't have any control on that mail-in ballot once we drop it in the slot.
Julia Bond, policy director for Common Cause Indiana, says now, as long as voters get their mail-in ballot postmarked by November 3rd and it reaches its destination by November 13th, your vote will be counted.
We're very grateful that the judge recognized that voters can't and shouldn't be disenfranchised by this arbitrary deadline any longer.
Julia tells me this is not a new idea.
We already allow voters who cast a provisional ballot and those who vote from overseas or in the military. They already get the 10-day window. So we're simply extending that window to all mail-in voters.
But even with this extension, some people are still feeling uneasy about mailing in their ballot.
The question is, are you going to do mail-in voting this time or?
No, I will not. I made the statement once that had happened to me, I just decided I would crawl to the polls if I had to and to cast my ballot this time. It's too important.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
Common Cause Indiana is hopeful the judge's ruling will stand and won't be challenged by Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill. His office says they are reviewing and considering options. We have your guide to the November general election up right now on our website, WRTV.com/vote in 2020. That includes how to apply for an absentee ballot and all of the deadlines and important dates you need to know. Kevin?
Saturday morning, an important date for some frosty temperatures. That's the Indy temperature. Outlying areas cooler. We'll focus on this cooler pattern coming up.
Getting into an Ivy League or top 10 university has always been extremely competitive, but there's a catch that it's a chance, rather, that it's a little easier right now. Alicia Nevis shows us how the pandemic has given some people better odds at getting into their dream schools.
Enrollment is down at college campuses across the country. One poll shows nearly 22% of college students have decided to take a gap year.
Right now, colleges, as you've seen, they're desperate for tuition dollars. You know, 6 out of 10 colleges want to fill their classes.
Christopher Rim is the CEO of Command Education, a company that helps students get into competitive colleges. He is seeing firsthand how the pandemic is making it much easier for students to do that this year.
You had students who were waitlisted at top 10, top 15 universities, and in a typical year, they wouldn't be getting in. And this was this past spring. But in June, July, they were getting offers of admission, saying they're off the wait list. That's because they saw students deferring their year acceptance or saying they're going to take a gap year.
The gap year trend and resulting reduced competition is also leading to another trend in college transfers.
We're having all of these transfer students reach out to us and saying, you know what, I want to transfer. This is the time to transfer. I'll have the best shot. If my dream school was Georgetown, if my dream school was Yale, what do I need to do in order to stand out and get in? Because these schools also need students.
And while he believes most of the qualified transfers will now get into their desired university,
for the current students right now who are applying to college and they're seniors in high school, they're going to have the most difficult time because all the students this past year who took the gap year have taken those spots. Harvard has said 20% of their incoming freshman class has opted to take a gap year, which means Harvard's going to take 20% fewer freshmen.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
Well, a shot at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Pagoda. Busy day at the track today and again tomorrow and Saturday with a couple different races. Well, we're focusing on sunshine and showers. You can see just barely above the horizon. This is out in Putnam County. Perfect timing. The sun now setting just before 7:30. Temperatures, they'll fall off into the 40s tonight. A full moon. It's been nearly full the last couple of nights with a great view. Should have the same view tonight. Any showers, and there are a couple, will end early. We're cool through the weekend. Then a warming trend kicks in next week. Where are the showers? Closing in on Noblesville, Cicero, Morse Reservoir up toward Tipton and Marion. They're diving south and east. We'll continue this for the next hour or so. Nothing that changes the overall situation being abnormally dry for sure. And the outlook for the month of October keeps our prospects low for beneficial rain. We'll call it below average as far as rainfall. No signal either way as far as how temperatures will play out. During the day tomorrow, we'll see clouds increase, mid to high level clouds. Temperatures will be coolest in the morning on Saturday. I think we'll have some patchy frost. Friday forecast will stay in the 50s, quite cool. Mixture of clouds and sunshine, but we're dry. Friday night football, nice night. As temperatures fall into the 40s, you'll definitely want to take a heavier jacket with you. And there are the cool temperatures for Saturday morning. Cool enough, outlying areas will have patchy frost. First half of the weekend, the warmer half, dry as well Saturday, 61. Chance for showers increases from the morning hours into the afternoon on Sunday. Monday, 62, dry with sunshine, and then we kick it into high gear. Temperature jumps to almost 70 Tuesday. We should be in the low 70s on Wednesday. That's the warmest temperature within the 7-day forecast. We'll be back,
I'll be right here right now. All right, thank you, Kevin, for that. The Indy and the Brickyard 400 came and went this year with no one in the stands at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but race fans can get a little taste of some track action this weekend. Our Brad Brown is wrapping up the day at the Speedway with a recap of IndyCar qualifying for the Harvest GP. Hi, Brad.
Hey, Mark. Kevin got a dose of the pagoda shot that we had out here with weather. Thought he was ready to move along. We're going to squeeze a couple minutes here from IMS in live on a Thursday evening. First time they've ever run an auto race here in the month of October at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You can see the big video board of the pagoda behind me, getting a bit of a test drive here with some of the sponsors for the GT World Challenge race that'll actually take place on Sunday to finish off the weekend. But it was the IndyCar qualifying for the first of 2 Harvest GP races that just wrapped up. Let's give you a look at it here as the sun started to set around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A bit of a challenging conundrum for those drivers down in the south end of the course. So Graham Rahal, among others, adding a layer of visor with the tint to it to try and figure things out a little better. But when it was all said and done, it was one of the youngest drivers in the field that had the fastest lap of the day. Rinus VeeKay, the 20-year-old from the Netherlands, is driving for Ed Carpenter Racing, one of the great personalities. We had a chance to catch up with him quite a bit during the month of August here, getting his feet wet in this series, but really taken to this road course today. We call it the hot lap. The fact is, though, as the temperature's cool with the sun setting here, he got himself on the pole position for the very first time, and he'll start up front for race number 1 of the weekend coming up tomorrow. Take a look at the rest of the quick 6 from qualifying. Rinus will start with Colton Herta up on the first row. Marco Andretti and Felix Rosenquist 3rd and 4th, and then Max Chilton and Graham Rahal. We showed you Graham. He'll start 6th. There's your guys up front for race 1. Again, they're going to do it all again on Saturday. They'll qualify Saturday morning for Saturday afternoon's race. And that'll cap off the weekend here at IMS. We saw some fans in the stands here today for the very first time this year. A little more than 1,000 fans, maybe 1,500 or so, down in the E grandstand. That's turn 1 of the oval. That's the tail end of the road course, but folks spreading out, doing themselves well, having some concessions, brought their coolers, enjoyed their day, and I'm sure many of them will be back to watch the action here on Friday for the race. We'll see you back here tomorrow for race number 1 as well. We hope to join us then. Time to take another break, and we're back to wrap up tonight's edition of the news at 7 next.
Welcome back. One business that's booming during the pandemic is the snack industry. Pepsi, Frito-Lay, even Starbucks have seen a rise in demand. A lot of people are munching on Cheetos and Doritos, which are owned by Frito-Lay. Quaker Foods has also seen a 6% rise in breakfast food sales. And many are all washing down these snacks with Gatorade and Mountain Dew. Pepsi says a boost in sales probably comes from people spending more time working and studying from home. IKEA is changing up its offerings to cut back on waste. The company is going to stop selling alkaline batteries because it says rechargeable batteries are better for the environment. IKEA estimates it currently sells 300 million non-rechargeable batteries a year. They'll be gone from stores by October of 2021. That'll do it for WRTV News at 7 o'clock here on this Thursday evening. We are back with you tonight for WRTV News at 11, and we hope you have an amazing evening. We'll see you back here later.